Hey everyone, this is Srishti from Metal Wani, and today we have Mark from Karnivool. How are you doing, Mark?
Very good, Shifty. I'm very good. It's what time is it? It's like 9:30 at night here in Australia, and I'm just sitting back sipping a beer, relaxing, which is quite nice.
So it's cold all over most of the world, but it's not in Australia, right?
No, it's certainly not. It's been a beautiful day today. I'm a little bit sunburnt, I've got to be honest, with my pale white skin. But yeah, it's beautiful here. Really, really beautiful. It's a great time of year to be in Australia. That's for sure.
How are you guys spending your vacation? I mean, do you actually get a vacation?
Not really. I mean, we sort of do and sort of don't. We just did sort of three shows here in Australia, just in our home sort of state of Western Australia. Three kind of local shows, which are really good, a lot of fun, and sort of small club shows, which were awesome. And then around that, we've just been spending some time in the studio, just writing music and organising a bit of studio time. So we do get a little bit of downtime. Everyone's sort of gone home now. Kenny's gone back to Melbourne, and the rest of us are all here in Perth. So we're all just really just chilling with our families over the Christmas break before we get ready for India in January. So yeah, it's a kind of downtime, although we're always sort of popping into the studio for various bits and pieces.
Okay, that's really cool. But so you spoke about touring and all of that, but what's up on the Karnivool workstation now? I mean, you did mention writing a little bit of new music. I mean, we've heard some whispers of a new album. Is that true?
Yeah, definitely. The new album is being written as you in typical Carnival fashion. It's not coming at a rate of knots. It's drifting in as usual. We're sort of writing little bits and then letting them sit for a while, and then working on some other stuff, and then we've got a hard drive full of stuff at the studio. But as usual, it's all just little pieces that we're sort of slowly manipulating and molding into songs. So there's definitely some new stuff there, and it's all coming together, and it's quite exciting what direction it's taking, actually. But yeah, as is typical of a Carnival album, it's in no rush to be completed.
So is the album going to come out anytime soon, or should we just expect it to probably come out in 2017? That's like another 4-year gap.
Yeah, I honestly couldn't answer that. I wouldn't expect it anytime soon, that's for sure. But do expect new material. I mean, what's normal for us is to write a group of songs and then to take them out live and play them live and get feedback on them live and then take them back to the studio and then totally rearrange them. That's not uncommon for us. We've done that with all the old albums in the past. So I probably wouldn't be expecting a hard copy new album anytime in the next 6 months, but do definitely expect to hear some new material from us. And I think the plan this time is to sort of get it out there in different ways.
So does that mean that India is going to listen to some new material?
It's very possible, very, very possible. Yeah, we'll see how we go. No promises, but we have been jamming some of this new stuff, and there's a couple of songs in particular that are sort of definitely at the fore, and we've been really enjoying getting our heads around them. And again, even if we did play them live, not to say that would be the final version that went on the album if we ever get to that point, but we do enjoy that. We enjoy taking something that is, I guess you'd call it 3/4, something like that, around 75% finished, and just seeing what people think of it and getting feedback in a live sense, which is really important to us.
Okay, one of the best things about Karnivool that I appreciate personally is that the music is always evolving, it's always out of the box, it's always something new. Are there any things that planning to work on in the future that you've not worked with before? I mean, I guess what I'm basically asking is what is the next mind-blowing aspect the audience should be expecting from Karnivool?
That's a very good question. I'm not entirely sure what. I hope it's mind-blowing. I really do hope it is mind-blowing. I don't know, as you said, I think we're not the kind of band that ever does the same thing twice, and we do like to push the envelope. That's part of the catharsis of the building blocks of what this band is made up of, I think. We love to challenge ourselves. We love to challenge music. We love to challenge what's possible between us, I think. But in saying that, I guess you're also just trying to create good music sometimes, and whether that doesn't always necessarily have to be something completely different to anything you've done before. It's just a basis that we've worked on over the years before, and most likely into the next album. It's just nice to say, look, I'm not gonna try and replicate anything I've done in the past, or we often find ourselves writing music and getting to a point going, oh, this is really cool, and then sort of going, oh, look, we've already done things like this. Let's just try and push it this way. And for us, that's a way of keeping it fresh and keeping ourselves involved in it. What that means for the future, it's always different as well. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be this tangential album that is completely paramountly different to anything we've done before. I think the last album we did was quite experimental that way, but some of the stuff wasn't. It's always a very varied album of songs on it, some heavy, some not, some a bit like the old stuff, some completely different to the old stuff. I think taking that same ethos into the next period is definitely what we'll be doing, and just going with what we know, and in a way that's not represented in the final outcome of music. Going with what we know, as in going with our hearts and our loves of music and what we've been brought up on and what we love to hear in music. That's obviously for us a big drive, is what we like to hear in music, and that's often what gels us together as individuals in a band sometimes, I think.
Yeah, I mean, all of you, I guess all of you would have like a really diverse taste in music, which is what basically comes out in the band sound. But who are the artists that you take inspiration from majorly, and that eventually helps in sound writing, or when it comes to new material? Is there an artist, or is there something, or what are the things that usually impact the sound of the Karnivool album?
Yeah, it can be artists. It's definitely what we're listening to at the time. I mean, we never really wear our influences on our sleeves, but it's definitely things that are clearly impacting each of us when it comes to a new writing period. And it's quite funny sometimes when you haven't sort of seen someone else in the band for a month or two, which is quite often for us. Sometimes someone will go away or go and do another project or whatever, and come back, and two of the other guys will still have been in the studio, or three, or working in pairs or whatever, which is what we like about this band as well, the fact that it can work like that. And someone will come back and they'll say, oh man, have you heard such and such, this new sound I've heard, and we'll sort of go, oh no, man, we've been listening to this. And as you say, we are very different in what we love in music. But at the same time, we do appreciate certain elements, of what music is, I think. And I think it's the fact that we all keep such an open mind, I think, really works well for us as on that level as well. Because I mean, when you come back and someone says, oh man, I've just found this, I don't know, funk album from the 60s with Sly and the Family Stone, and and someone else is on this heavy metal path or something, and they've just been listening to, I don't know, the new Meshuggah album on repeat for 5 days. It's very hard to gel those two sounds together, but there are definitely things to take out of those two sounds, even when you're on completely different wavelengths to the other person. You can sit down and listen to that and go, yeah, okay, cool, I don't quite get what you're saying, but I know that in what you're hearing, there's something I should be picking up on, so I'm going to try.
But I'm pretty sure that if there's a band that can gel a 60s funk music to like Meshuggah, then it's Karnivool. I'm pretty sure that's the band that's going to
Yeah, hopefully in a decent kind of way, not some kind of evil tributary kind of way, but yeah, we'll give it a crack.
I don't think it's going to be evil. I mean, you guys, listening, every time a Karnivool album comes out and everybody just wants to know, what really unique thing are they going to do this time? Everyone's just like, oh my god, they did that, I can't even believe it, I couldn't even picture it. That's what Karnivool really is to most of us, so.
That's cool. I love that. I love the fact that people can expect that from an album. It's really nice to know that there are people out there expecting that from our music, and they have every right to expect that.
Okay, so coming back to that, do you think it's more important to please yourselves or please the audience? What would you give more priority to?
It's a difficult question. My instant answer would say ourselves, because we do. We sit in a studio and we block out the outside world, and we don't listen to the radio intentionally, and we definitely write for ourselves. When we're in that studio writing a song, we're not writing it to appease anybody but our own taste in music and our own love for music and the 5 people in that room. But in saying that, you can't live in this society or live on this earth and not be influenced from an external factor of your audience and the people who love your music. I think the easy way to answer that would be say, yes, it's definitely written for us. We write for ourselves. We are very selfish. That way. We make no apologies for that. But in saying that, there's no way we've ever written a song without taking the fact that we know this group of people are probably going to hear our music. So that factor is always there. And I think the way we review that is to listen to the song back and say, look, does it have that Karnivool sound? Does it have the sound of what we do together? And if that sound is there, and we know that it sounds like a song that we would collectively write, and because some of our songs are quite different. As long as it's got that backbone, then that's cool. That's fine. Hopefully, people will not completely hate it.
But
whereas we're in love with it.
Look, what you make up for selfishness, what you kind of take in through your selfishness, you make out through when you take the feedback, like you said, in your live performances. You don't write an album before you take out, get the feedback from your live audience. So then I guess it's kind of balanced out there too, right?
Definitely, and that's the thing. I think live is such an important factor for us. I guess the feedback we're getting on the songs isn't so much about what the songs are and what they do. It's about hearing a song in a live context and going, that got really muddy in the middle there. And for us, we're like, oh yeah, okay, it got pretty muddy because we got a lot of different ideas and a lot of different, entropies just hitting at that point and then focusing out. And then you sort of go, well, okay, well, that's cool. For us, that might work theoretically, but clearly, practically, it just sounds like mud. So we've got to go back and reevaluate it, And I think you can't get that from any other perspective except from when you play it live in front of people. You can't get that from just recording it and listening back to the song because it just doesn't. Sometimes it just doesn't come out that way,
Okay, so if you weren't a part of Karnivool, would you prefer to watch Karnivool live or listen to them like on a CD at home?
I'll definitely watch them live, I think. Yeah. And then in saying that, you're sacrificing a lot when you go and see a live band because you're sacrificing fidelity. So it's like when you go and see go watch a band at a festival. It's going to sound awful because there's wind interference. It's in a huge amphitheater. You've got 10,000 people around you singing over what you're trying to listen to. But you're not. You're there for the spectacle, and you're there for the moment, and you want to feel something, and you want to feel it with a group of people. That's what a festival's like. I think a live show is the medium ground between that and listening to an album. I mean, I love nothing better than to turn off all the lights and put headphones on and listen to my favorite albums. That's the only way to listen to my favorite albums, in my opinion. But you can't relate that to a live experience. There's just not the same humanity to it. You don't get that feeling of beating hearts and sweaty bodies. It's just a completely different experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Recently you and Andrew were featured on a documentary called Metal Down Under.
Yeah.
What was your experience with the documentary, and what did you want to convey through it?
We knew the guys putting the documentary together, and they just came to one of our shows in Perth. We only had a very small section of that documentary, which is justifiably so. It's not really about us, it's or our style of music. It's about rock in general. We're only a very small subsidiary of that, but it was a well put together piece, and we just got a chance to reel off some really cool old Australian bands that influenced us and got us into the scene. I'm from Melbourne and Drew's from Perth, so we got to sort of cover a lot of the Australian spectrum in that. So it was an interesting experience. It was only a very brief interview for us, and I haven't actually seen the whole thing back, so the bits I have seen look really cool, and the documentary's got some really cool reviews, so I'm looking forward to seeing it.
That's cool. Now I'm just gonna have to go and get it myself and watch it too. That'll probably be just before Karnivool is hitting India, which is few days from now, right after the vacation period. And
it is. It's very close. Yeah, second or near the end of the first week in January. So it's all coming very quickly, which is awesome.
Are you really excited? I mean, this isn't your first time in India. You're not new to the Indian scene anymore.
No, we're not at all. I think this is our third or fourth trip. Well, as a band, it's our third trip, I think. But it's oh man, we love it. It's an amazing. You've got an amazing country, and you've got such a beautiful respect and love for music. And I think that's what gets us so excited every time. We always have such great conversations with people we meet before and after shows and in hotel rooms, and The shows are always vibrant and people are always there singing along. I think we got a bit shocked the first time we came to India just how many people know who we are. It was quite a humbling experience, but it's amazing. It's an amazing culture, and it's a real treat for us to be able to get to a place like that and perform and do what we do. So yeah, we are definitely excited, looking forward to it.
So this time it's not just one concert, it's basically a 4-city tour. So how does that feel?
That feels great. Yeah, it feels a bit rushed. I wish we were doing 4 shows over like 5 weeks or something, but as is the nature of these things, it's always a bit rushed. But it'll be amazing. It'll be absolutely amazing. There's some places there we haven't been before, so I don't know. What do you say? It's an experience, and every time we know we're going back there, we get very excited.
This is your second time playing at IIT, which is one of the most prestigious colleges in the country. And what do you have to say about the young college crowd in India?
Yeah, amazing. Well, that last IIT show was amazing, and we got a good chance to walk around and hang out there during the day as well. So I think it's. Well, we have done a lot of college shows. We haven't really done many of our own shows there, but of all the shows we've done, we've always the cross section of people there is fantastic. It's like there's young musicians, there's young music theorists, there's young people who don't necessarily dig a lot of music, but they love what we do or have heard us on the internet or whatever and wanted to come and check it out. So it's a good cross section of people, and there is a real hunger for music in India, and particularly I think our style of music, at least in that particular student crowd. So it's beautiful, and you feel that empathic sort of vibe going on that you sometimes get in places when you feel like a lot of people are on the same wavelength and want to get the same things out of music, and they want to share thoughts and integrate music and philosophy in that way. And I think that's what we've got every other time we've come there, and what we're certainly expecting to get again when we come back.
And you've come here before, and you're from Australia. Obviously, both the countries have a lot of different elements about it. But what do you think stands apart the most, specifically in terms of music in both the countries?
Stands apart? I don't know. I think obviously India has it seems to have its own cultural influence on itself, whereas Australia's internal cultural influence on its music is quite different and more folky, and more to do with different genres. Obviously, we take a lot of our, calls on a lot of this music from America and United Kingdom and all the rest of it, where a lot of this style of music, I guess, came up so quickly. And Australia sort of feeds off that, and I think Australia had a really good run with progressive music around about the same time we were sort of forming back in the Thamada days. And that obviously sort of started a movement for that type of music here. And you feel the same thing coming from India now, which is feeling like that there's about to be some kind of movement in that respect. But then, India just has this amazingly beautiful history of music and a subculture of, obviously you've got your own scales, for Christ's sake. It's beautiful, it's like, it's just amazing. We take such influence from that in our music, so I just feel like India has more than somewhere like Australia has in that respect, and I think that's such a great breeding ground for what can be progressive music in the years to come.
Yeah, okay. In a country better known for producing pop rock, and lately with the proliferation of indie pop and hip hop, what do you attribute as Karnivool's success and longevity to?
It's a good question. I don't know. I put it. Well, I do know. I put it down to our audience, but then in saying that, it's a very large brushstroke for an answer that probably needs to be more specific. Our audience are amazing, and I say that not in this sort of general sense, in a very private sense. The emails we get from people, the conversations we have with people at shows, it really makes us appreciate every show that our audience is different, and we are a challenging band at the best of times. We don't do the same album twice. We're very slow to write music. We, any sane human being would have told us to get stuffed a long time ago, I think. But our audience just keep coming back, and that's probably more a positive review of them than it is of us. It's showing that these people are well, brilliant in their capacity to stay open-minded and to listen to music and appreciate it in that sense. And I think that is the strongest point for us, is the fact that we have these people who are prepared to listen to our music and to wait long periods of time to hear more and to not complain too much in the interim.
Yeah. No, but I actually think that, the longer you take to write an album, the audience is more eager, and then when it comes out, everybody's just like, yes, finally they're out, it's right there, now I have it, it's Karnivool, it's new.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, what comes along with that obviously is a fair amount of placated stress on us to produce something, because it's 4 years. It's like, hey, come on, you guys have been away for a long time, this had better be amazing. And we're sort of sitting there going, well, we hope it's amazing, not because it's taken us 4 years to make, but just because it's the next thing we're doing, and we sort of don't feel like it's this 4-year, blockbuster that's about to be dropped. It's just the next thing we're doing. It just happens to take a long time because we're really slow, useless people. But
that's not true.
I'm only joking. But
do not say that about one of my favorite bands. I am very offended.
I don't mean to offend. I'm sorry, but yeah, no, I don't know. It's a strange one for us. Definitely a strange one for us.
Okay. Have you heard any of the Indian bands, that you follow, or that's actually caught your eye, and you probably catch them up while you're here if you get some free time?
Yeah, there's a bunch of people we always catch up with when we're there, and there's the the usual heads that we see and hear, and people are always sending us demos and stuff as well, which is awesome. The more the merrier. Honestly, the more the merrier. We love hearing all styles of music. There are some really great, as I said, there's some really great stuff that you get to hear occasionally. But I don't know, it's more of a chance just to get back there and just hang out with people, musicians or not musicians. It's just a good catch up. It always is every time. We've got a lot of good friends back there now, and we're already getting excited to hang out with them again.
Yeah. Apart from performing, what are some things that you're definitely going to do while you're here?
Just check things out. Not so much be a tourist, because I don't think we have the time for that. But eat. I'm going to eat as much goddamn food as I can get my hands on, and hopefully we get a chance to get to some places and see some things. It is pretty quick this time, I must be honest. And usually most of us or some of us get a chance to hang around afterwards. But I think this time, just because it's January and it's such a busy period, everyone's got a fly in, fly out kind of thing, not get a chance to hang around and check out some sites. So we're just going to make the most of the time we have there and really enjoy it.
All right. What would you like to, what advice would you like to give to all the Indian fans who are going to see you? How do they, prepare for Karnivool?
Listen to the albums, write down the lyrics, study the lyrics hard. There will be a test. Bring your own pen, bring your own pad. No cheating. No, look, it doesn't matter. Even if you don't like us, come and say hello. Come and have a listen, because it's about the group experience, and the live is about the group experience. And I'm sure even if what you've heard you've hated so far, I promise if you come to a show, we'll find at least 20 seconds that'll emotively move you and hopefully get you into the style of music that we like to perform. But honestly, it's a blast. It's fun. We take the studio sometimes quite seriously. We take our music quite seriously sometimes, but for us, the live show is the icing on the cake. It's the fun period. So we're just there to have a lot of fun, and hopefully the people who come down will do the same.
All right. Thank you so much, Mark. It was so nice talking to you.
My pleasure.